way in the last decade since healthcare.gov, and we're going to tell a little bit of our story of our open source journey and where we have been. I'm Andrea, I'm with the digital service team, and Remy here is the first open source lead at a federal government agency. So the digital services CMS, who are we and what do we do? We sit in the office of the administrator and we support teams across the agency in thinking about new ways of delivering digital services and technology. We work on modernizing the Medicare payment system, which process 4.5% of US GDP every day. And we recently set up the first open source program office in the federal government, which Remy will talk about more. We do this similar to other digital service teams. We deploy really small teams of experts in technology. We have software engineers, product managers, data scientists, designers who come together to kind of provide search capacity and expertise to other parts of the agency who might not have those skills. We serve a lot of people. We serve over half the US population through either Medicare, Medicaid, or the marketplace, or healthcare.gov. Over 180 million people, and that number is growing pretty much every day. We also spend a lot of money, so we serve taxpayers. We have a budget of around $1.7 trillion. Every paycheck that you have pays into the Medicare Trust Fund, and we are responsible for overseeing and paying that out. We do a lot of money in Medicare payments and Medicaid payments, and have a huge responsibility to the taxpayers in seeing that those funds are spent correctly. We also serve the healthcare system. So we have regulatory authority over about 20% of the US GDP. We have about 6,200 CMS employees and provide services to 1.4 million healthcare providers or hospitals and clinics across the country. So the first federal OSPO. Remy, you gonna take over here? Go for it.
Thank you, Andrea. So in August of this year at DEFCON, we actually saw a press release come out about the RFI that was released a year ago about open source software security and supply chain. This mentioned the priorities of the 2024-2025 year. Bullet point number 6 was about establishing the first federal OSPO. So we were pleasantly surprised to see that listed and very proud of the beginning of the story. So what is an OSPO? An open source program office serves as a center of gravity and competency for the strategies, programs, and policies that deal with your open source community. Our functioning statement at the agency is to establish and maintain guidance, policies, practices, pipelines that advance equity, build trust, and amplify impact across CMS, HHS, and the federal open source community. And that's just how we do it. We use policies, projects, and programs. And what are some of the risks and the benefits? Because, there's a lot of folks here who are familiar with open source. So you're probably familiar with a lot of the myths as well. It's not as secure. You can't make any money with it. You have to open up everything. We don't do that by default. And in reality, these are all just their myths. We don't have to go into all of the different things that people have said in the past, but there are a lot of examples, many of which have been built or contributed to by people in this room to help and shift that perspective. So things that keep us up at night are the actual risks, like over-differentiation of unnecessarily dividing your resources and innovating on things that are already a commodity, or proliferation of lots of different kinds of projects that can draw your attention away from many things. Software sprawl is a big problem. When there's a problem with software, what do? We build more software, right? Which means that we continue to dig ourselves down into a hole of technical debt. And what's even worse is when you have your own project and then you split it, you fragment it, you have an internal repo and an external repo, and then you're dividing your own engineering resources, and that takes twice as much effort and time. So these are the actual risks that we worry about in open source. So where does the value in OSPO come from? We help to save money, we help to save time, we help to reduce duplicate work and effort, we help to reduce security and continuity risk, provide accountability, and we serve as an engine for talent. So you've probably seen this one about 1,000 times. It's true that we have a maintainer problem. That's the Nebraska problem. We have a colloquial way of describing it now. CISA recently wrote in their blog that we all have a responsibility to be responsible consumers of open source and contribute back upstream wherever we're using it. That's the government too. So one of the ways that we are helping to provide benefits to deal with this risk is we just launched a vulnerability disclosure program partnership with CISA. We are partnering with BugCrowd. It's live. It's out there where people can see it. Actually, we are in the midst of our first ever bug bounty program at the agency. It's a private pilot. We have a pool. The first payouts went out yesterday. So we will be hopefully sharing the results of that in the near future. But really the biggest risk that keeps me up at night is for every one federal employee under the age of 30, there are 7 over the age of 50. That means we're facing a federal retirement cliff. And there are people who have been in this industry for 20, 30, 40 years. And we need to make sure that we continue to pass that torch between the generation that brought us where we are now and where the future needs to go. So some of these benefits of an early career talent pipeline program, like programs like Digital Core, Coding It Forward, Coding the Schools. Coding the Schools is right in our backyard. We have high school students who are contributing to CMS projects. We have college students who do paid work. We have Digital Core programs where people are doing 2-year fellowships and getting full-time job offers at the end of it. And that doesn't take $1 million contracts. That just takes young, motivated, hungry individuals who want to contribute to making the world a better place. So if you know people who want to join that call or who want to get involved, here's the information where you can see it. And that is our 5 minutes, so thank you very much.